It's time to get back on the water and break out those kites as we kick off the 24 with one of the most sought-after species in the Sunshine State, Brie.
That's right. From their speed to their spectacular leaps, you'll instantly know it's on the end of your line. And this week, it's Sailfish on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Captain Rick Murphy and Brie Gabrielle, with an all-new season. Excited to put you on the fish. Rick, are you ready?
I'm so ready, Brie. You know, one of the things that I'm excited about is that each week we get to share the latest and the greatest for over 90 minutes. So you guys at home, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Well, Rick, you know, I missed you, but our trusty sidekick, Dave Ferrell, is back at the CCA workbench, and I can't wait to see what shenanigans he gets into this season.
A lot of shenanigans. You know, I miss coming back to Miami, all the good food, Steve's Pizza, and, you know, the traffic. But, you know, ready to talk about some sail fishing today.
Here we go. Well, we've got some sail fishing to do, like Dave said, and there's no better place than to kick off 2024 in the Fish Bites East region with Captain Mike Holliday. The sails are moving south fast, Mike, so put us on them.
You know, Brie, after what started as kind of a dismal sailfish season, going into December, January, even early February, by mid-February it lit up and the bites kind of continued all the way into April. Now, we're seeing less fish than we saw last month, but there's still plenty of sails spread out throughout the region. The better action seems to be the further south you get. The best bites in anywhere from 80 to 150 feet of water from about Hope Sound down south to Boynton Beach. You control rig baits like ballyhoo or mullet, but the best action by far is coming on live pilchards, goggle eyes, or thread fins, either slow troll, drifted, or power drifted using kites. A lot of the bites are coming in multiples, so you want to be sure to leave your baits in the water if you can and have a pitch bait ready to throw at any sails that might be dogging one of those hook fish. And the average sailfish right now seems to be about 30 to 40 pounds. I got a great photo fishing out of a bay boat, Matt George of Palm City. Got this nice sailfish off Stewart, and that fish ate a live goggle eye off a kite. The other bite we have, this has been one of the better winners for blackfin tuna, with fish being caught regularly off Push Button Hill and also in 180 to 300 feet of water from Hope Sound down south through the Palm Beaches. Really in the same areas the sailfish are, just out a little deeper. The fish have been most active at dawn and dusk, but you can get them any time of day. Most of the boats are targeting blackfin, either drifting or flying kites with live pilchards or smaller thread fins, or they're marking the fish over structure and using jigging spoons. The tuna are running anywhere from 10 to 30 pounds, and lately the sharks have been a bit of a problem. So you want to use that heavier gear, the 30, 50-pound gear, to get them in as quickly as possible. I got a photo that Captain Chris Britton of Port St. Lucie sent me. These are some nice blackfins I caught in 210 feet of water east of St. Lucie Inlet.
Well, tell me about what's happening inshore there, bub.
Well, you know, the warmer weather has really fired up the snook bite in my region, particularly in the Indian River around the bridges, in Vero Beach and in Jensen Beach, and also around Fort Pierce and Jupiter Inlet. There's another bite going on in the St. Lucie and Loxahatchee rivers. The majority of those fish are being caught around docks, seawalls, in the middle of the day in those rivers. And we're seeing a good push of mullet inshore. So if you want to start your day throwing topwater plugs or a saltwater Sasson Artemis shad, work them along the seawalls at first light, then go straight to live mullet on those seawalls. The bridge bites have been best at night on those windy nights using a flare hawk jig or a live shrimp or one of those Artemis shads. And the fish in the inlets are eating everything from pilchards to those big jigs. Average snook right now, 5 to 12 pounds. I got a photo of Tom Schmelzer. He got that nice Fort Pierce snook on the flats. He was fishing with Captain Mark Dravo, and that fish ate a topwater plug. The other inshore bite is the spring pompano bite that's been steady on the beaches and still going inshore, but kind of trickling down. Seems like the beach bite's been the hot bite. The dirty water inshore makes that jig bite a little tough. In the surf, the best action's been off Jupiter Island and South Hutchinson Island. You just got to find that green water. The last couple days, it seems to be down on Jupiter Island. The river bite's been on the Sailfish Point Flats, the J.C. Park Flats, and the west side of the river north of the power lines. Sand fleas have been hard to come by, so everybody's fishing fish bites, easy fleas, or a shrimp or a jig with a strip of fish bites on it. I got a cool photo Captain Cody Rubner Stewart sent me. He led that young angler to a nice pompano on the Sailfish Point Flats. That fish ate a live shrimp. That's a pretty big one, guys.
That is a good one.
Nice.
All right, Mike, give us a bass report. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, high water in Lake Okeechobee and a lack of grass is making it tough to really pattern the bass right now. Although the guys who have that forward-facing sonar, a lot of those guys are looking at the tilapia schools and singling out the bass on them and throwing to those fish. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He's saying the best action is coming along the west wall, really from Clewiston all the way up to the Kissimmee River. You just got to find that clean water and look for anything floating, from dead cattail heads to rolled up debris, even dollar pads, anything that creates cover structure for the fish. You want to fish those areas with a June bug colored Bass Assassin tap out or a fat job worm. Either of those worms rig wacky style, or you can throw a frog bait like a logger toad, or even a topwater plug. Right now it's a 10 to 20 fish morning on the lake. Average fish, 1 to 3 pounds, but they're catching them up to 8.
All right, Mike, thank you for starting us off. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike says inshore bluefish from 1 to 10 pounds on Sailfish Point Flats. Use topwater plugs, swimming plugs, chunks of mullet or ladyfish. And then offshore, kingfish in 100 feet of water off of Juneau Pier, slow troll or drift live thread fins, blue runners, or maybe even a goggle eye, Brie.
Okie dokie, first report down, but now it's time to get ready for the Shoreline Showdown Surf Fishing Tournament Series presented by Fish Bites. 4 tournaments, 1 championship, and over $75,000 in guaranteed payouts. You can fish just 1 tournament or all of them for a chance to qualify to compete for the title of the ultimate surf angler.
Dave!
For more information, visit shorelineShowdown.com or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the various dates and locations. Dave, is that going to be you? I don't know. Continuing the frenzy in the Real Legends Central East region, we are welcoming back Captain Jim Ross with the Sailfish Skinny. Go for it, Jim.
Hey, gang, it's great to be back. It's also great to have the sailfish back. They're getting pretty good through the south part of my region. The Real Legends region goes from Ponce all the way down to the Vero Beach area, but we talk about the Sebastian Inlet quite a bit in that. And from Sebastian south right now, they're showing up. This 3 to 4 weeks ago. And these fish, in my region, we don't fish kites a lot. Other regions, they do really good on kites. Our fish are spread out a little bit more. So naked ballyhoo or chin-weighted ballyhoo is a much better way to try and find them. Or if you can split bill a ballyhoo, those are great as well. Throw them out on your flat lines, out on your, skip them along on the surface on your outriggers. You can leave the chin weight off if you want them to skip a little better. And you want to troll them at 3 to 4 knots. And then also, we use a lot of live baits as well, just without the kite. We use sardines, menhaden, pilchards. They're all very, very good baits. You get multiple shots sometimes. If you get 2 or 3 fish that come up and you have a pitch bait, you can actually pitch one out of the bait well to the second or third fish as well. So that's always a good thing to have rigged and ready, or at least have accessible if you're coming up when you have multiple fish coming up behind the boat. Now you can slow troll those live baits, and this is exactly what Jim O'Neill did in this photo. He got a nice sailfish out of Sebastian the other day in 130 feet of water on a live menhaden.
Nice.
Also offshore, where all the guys are, we've had a couple of days of calm weather, and the guys are looking to get to the other side of the Gulf Stream. They want to get to those yellowfin tuna. They're running 75 to about 95 miles right now. They're high-speed trolling, with the lures, with the plugs, and they're rigging them on 50 to 80-pound class tackle. And you want to pull them at 10 to 14 knots because the birds that are following the tuna packs are moving along at basically the same speed, 10 to 14 knots. 12, 13, up to about 17 mile an hour. So you want to do a couple of things. Do not run over the school. Get way out in front of the direction that the birds are coming, and then pull your baits in across the front side of the school. Now, a couple of the guys that are really, really good yellowfin anglers up here in my region are telling me you want to target the smaller bird packs because the bigger yellowfin typically come off the smaller groups of birds. But be ready with some cedar plugs and some smaller baits, because if you come across a larger bird pack, that's typically when they're over the skipjack or the blackfin tuna, and of course those smaller baits will help you catch those smaller fish. Now, swinging inshore, we've got some mangrove snapper action right now. Piers, jetties, rock piles, any kind of natural ledge from 10 to 50 feet of water is holding fish right now, even inside of the inlet at Canaveral around the jetties, and the inside docks are having good numbers of mangrove snapper on them. Now, most of these fish are hitting a live finger mullet or a small pilchard, but jumbo shrimp will also work. And you want to look for the mangroves, especially on the rock structures and the wrecks in that 50-foot or less zone. Look for them hanging around the outside edges of the structure. For some reason, the guys that are finding them best are not right on top of the structure. They're kind of holding off the edge of the structure. Most of these fish are ranging from about 1 to 3 pounds, but we've got some slightly bigger fish. I've got a picture here of one that Amanda Gilbert caught with me the other day. That's a pretty nice little chunky inshore mangrove. If I don't say so myself.
Yeah, it is. Go, Amanda. Woo woo.
Yep, there you go. All right, tell me about the snook.
My last species is snook, Rick, and we like our snookies. You know, this time of the year, they're really coming out of the holes. They're coming out of those deeper areas, and they're starting to get along the jetties. They're starting to get along the beaches. We're finding them in the flats. And right now, croakers and menhaden seem to be the two top baits that the guys are throwing at them. All of my recent charter trips that I've had lately, when I've been able to get those two types of baits, we've had snook. Yes, they'll hit other baits, but primarily those two, they're keying in on them right now. The higher stages of the tide have been better than the lower stages at the inlets and along the beaches as well. They seem to be getting them in behind those little troughs and things. On the low stage of the tide, they're getting out past the trough, and you can't really get to them very easily. And then at night, especially at places like Ponce Inlet and down at Sebastian Inlet, which is a mecca for snook, the 5 to 6 inch assassin shad tails or a flare hawk jig is working really good. Most of the fish right now, though, are over the legal slot size. I've got a picture here of Christopher with one of those big Canaveral snook that we caught the other morning on a live bait. But, just handle them with care, get them back in the water, because they're getting ready to start reproducing here in about 2 months.
Thank you so much for all the pictures this week, Jim. We're going to go and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots. Jim says inshore, South Indian River Flats, from Grant to Vero, use topwater plugs on the early, and then switch to live croakers, pilchards, or mullet for trout up to 28 inches. And then offshore, slow troll, live menhaden for cobias and king mackerel on the 65 to 90-foot reefs.
All right, well, we're checking in with Dave Ferrell, the CCA workbench for the Fish Bites Trading Post, Rigs and Techniques Sailfishing 101. Dave.
Yep, we're going to be talking about catching the sailfish, especially on circle hooks. This is one fish that you really want to use a circle hook with.
Muy importante. And when we come back, we're headed to the Star Trek Central West region to fish with Captain Jeff Page. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. Sirius XM Marine. Weather. Fish mapping. Entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Berkeley Prospect Chrome. Fish Bites Trading Post. The first choice of First Coast anglers. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
So we're here at the CCA workbench, and it is time for the Fish Bites Trading Post Rigs and Techniques. Dave?
That's a lot to say, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're talking about sailfish, and he's actually the most accessible billfish in the state of Florida. We can catch a few marlins sometimes, but most of the time, if you're going to catch a billfish in Florida, it's going to be a sailfish. And they run all up and down the East Coast, fairly close to shore, in 80 to 200 feet of water, sometimes a little deeper, sometimes even shallower than that. Down in the Keys, you can catch them in 40 feet of water sometimes. So,
right.
They a lot of different boats can catch. You can catch them off a flats boat, or they used to have a tournament where they catch them on inner tubes and whatnot. But there's different regions, and you do different things. Down in the Keys, they use a lot of live baits, run and gun type fishing, or fishing with kites. Mm-hmm. Further up at the Miami area, about from Miami up to West Palm, there's a lot of kite fishing. Again, live bait fishing with pilchards and goggle eyes, fishing under kites. keeping, what's so great about kite fishing for sailfish is it keeps all the leader out of the water. The only thing in the water is that little live bait paddling on the surface, and that is just irresistible to a lot of different fish, but sailfish especially. South Florida, from Fort Pierce to Stewart area, all the way up to Cape Canaveral where I live, we troll dead baits because the fish are more spread out. Down south, they're usually in that 120 to 200 foot water along the reef, and you can drift along that reef area and be in the concentration of fish. Now, up where I live, that between 120 feet and 200 feet of water is a long ways. So you got to troll to cover that ground and find the fish. And once you find them, you can put some live baits out if you'd like. But usually we, keep trolling the dead baits, mainly ballyhoo, 3 to 4 knots. With a circle hook, and I mentioned before, it's very important to use a circle hook, the Billfish 2, L2004 Eagle Claw. This is a great hook for sailfish. The Big O guys, caught over 4,000, went through 10,000 hooks and caught over 4,000 billfish
in 1 year.
In 1 year on this hook last year.
That says a lot.
Yeah, that's a great hook.
This is the same hook that they use
the exact same one
every day.
Yep, 7/0 is the one to go with. You catch little striped marlins and little blue marlins on that same hook as well. It hooks right in the corner of their jaw. What's really great about it is, sailfish is a jumping fish. Once you hook them, they start jumping around.
Right.
Just like a tarpon. And that circle hook gets in that corner of their jaw and it doesn't come out. It stays in there real good, and he can jump all he wants to, and usually we're going to get him because that circle hook stays in the jaw.
So what kind of rod do we want to use when we're dead bait trolling?
Well, we're going to want to use a conventional reel with a lever drag. We don't want to use a star drag because we want to know where our drag is at. And that pin there, the Fathom 2, that high speed, it's a 7-to-1. 59 inches of line per turn.
Per turn.
So what's that good for? Several things. If you're fishing from a kite and the bait comes out of the kite, you got 75 feet, 80 feet of line that's going to fall. You got a high-speed retrieve. You can get all that line back on the reel really quick and come in contact with the fish. When you're trolling, that same high speed can get you, if you're trolling that bait and you got it, maybe that's your short line, and the fish comes up on a teaser, you can reel that bait up to the teaser really, really fast. Not only that, once you feed the fish, and that's what's so good about the lever drag, once you dump it, like that little squaw there, it has a lever drag as well.
Right.
When you dump that fish off and you put a lot of line in the water, you want to get that line back as fast as possible and come tight to the fish. Now, I said as fast as possible. The lever drag allows you to ease up easily, to increase the drag, at a very small increments at a time, so that when it does come tight, it pulls that bait out, because the circle hook has to be swallowed and then come out real slow. And if you got that lever drag and you push it up slow and start to wind, the bait comes to the corner of the mouth and he's hooked. And you snell it on a piece of 50-pound Berkeley Prospect chrome fluorocarbon. You're using 30-pound or 20-pound even main line. In Florida, you can get away with using 20-pound. The fish in Florida don't get that big, 30 to 50 pounds. Sometimes you'll get a 60 or 70 pounder. That's a monster in Florida.
In both of these combination, whether it's the Alley 2 or the Squall combo, those are 7-foot rods, Dave?
Yeah, with the butt. And you need a nice slick butt so it comes out of the rod holder really quick. Nice soft tip so you can feel the bite really well, because sailfish can make you look foolish sometimes.
Yeah, man, a lot of good information. Good job.
Yeah, Dave, have you been practicing that for 6 months? You skip a beat over here.
Correct.
Wow,
Correct.
impressive.
6 months.
I knew you were going to do it. All right, the scales in the Star Tron Central West region are ripe for the catching. So let's hear what Captain Jeff Page has to say. Hey, Page.
Good evening, fish fans. Stealing that from Randy Tao. Good to be back. And we may not be as well known for sailfish over here on the Gulf Coast as they are on the East Coast, but we have them, and this is the time of year that we catch them. That water temperature getting up in the 70s, and the big schools of threadfins pushing in from offshore into that 40 to 80 foot range. Captain Chris Seeger at Tight Lines reports that look for those fish mixed in with the kingfish. not uncommon while you're trolling for kingfish that you'll hook a sailfish, or in a little bit of deeper water, say 80 to 120 feet, while you're bottom fishing, it's not uncommon to have a flat line out with a big pilchard or a threadfin, which Dave mentioned, on a flat line with no weight, just free swimming, and you'll hook a sailfish out there while you're bottom fishing. So it's not a targeted species, but we do catch them, and they are pretty common this time of year. Now, that being said, the trolling works as well if you are targeting with live bait, slow trolling, 4 to 8, like Dave said. I like that. My photo tonight is from Venice Captain Randy Powell, with a nice sailfish he caught off of Venice.
All right.
And offshore, red grouper. We've had a really good red grouper bite late winter, early spring, and the fish have been in that 110 to 140 feet of water, Rick, in those smaller areas of hard bottoms, broken Swiss cheese bottom. You're going to score the keeper red groupers, and don't be surprised if you get a few mangrove snapper and even a few of the hogfish still around, even though they're a colder water fish. Double Trouble crew out of Cortez, Florida, had a really good, epic 6-hour trip last week where they got their limit of big fire truck red groupers. And look for this bite to continue as long as that water doesn't get too hot too quick. And my photo tonight is from Captain Brian Alcorn of the Double Trouble out of Cortez with a nice limit of red groupers.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore.
Inshore, you and I were just talking today about the snook fishing down your way. Well, it's been really good up here. And I believe a lot of the fish are already in the passes and out on the beaches due to it wasn't really a cold winter like it was when we filmed those urban episodes of Sportsman when all those fish were way back in the residential canals. They never really got too far away from the inlets and passes, and they're already out on the beaches. There's a lot of bait. The water's real clean. You can see the fish in the troughs along the sand beaches. And then on the higher stages of the tide, look for them in or around the oyster bars in Long Bar Point, all the way north up to Terracea and Palmasola Bay, and then down in Charlotte Harbor around the Bull and Turtle Bay oyster bars and Mangrove Island. Probably number one bait is the live pilchard, but don't be afraid to throw a topwater Berkeley, Jaywalker, or a subsurface stick shad, which is really efficient on them when on calm days when you want that bait quiet, that presentation quiet. And then Captain Dave Parmalu has been doing really good on night trips, averaging 20 to 40 snook a night using a mixture of live shrimp and a soft plastic swim bait. Now, my snook photo tonight is Pete and AJ Ferraro, who not only won the Pathfinder a couple weeks ago at the CCA banquet, but then they won the snook category with that snook in the Pediatric Cancer Foundation tournament out of Sarasota Hyatt last week.
Nice.
Wow, congrats, guys.
They're on fire. Tell me about the bluefish,
Yes, they
Bob.
are. And my last species, I don't think I've ever had bluefish as a species, Rick, but about 2 weeks ago, I stumbled up on a group of them in the Gulf down by Point of Rocks, and I thought I was the only one that had found them. And then I started getting reports from down south. Guys are catching them. Up to the north around the St. Pete Skyway Pier, guys are catching them. So a lot of big Atlantic size, and I mean 10 to 15 pound bluefish have shown up, and you'll see them busting the top of the water. The fish I saw were laid up on shallow stands right in on the beach. I thought they were big snook at first, and I threw some bait on them, and they attacked them, and I go, those don't look like snook. And I hooked one, and he cut me off, and then I hooked another and landed them. And then it turns out a lot of other guys are catching them as well, so that's why I made them a species. And this picture will show you guys how big they are.
Oh,
They're Atlantic Ice
Holy
bluefish. That's from Captain Kevin Wetzel of Barefoot Fishing Charters out of Sarasota.
All right, Pup, we got to go.
Hey,
Thank you.
real quick, I got to mention, it's not too early to sign up for the CCA Star Tournament, which starts Memorial Day weekend, which is only a month or so away.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Central West region. He says inshore, good trout bite on the grass flats from Long Bar north to Terracea Bay. Throw suspending baits like Berkeley stick shads or Mirror Mirrodines in chartreuse and silver patterns. Try the twitch pause pattern is going to work while working those baits. And then offshore, kingfish are in the south part of his region. Look for any type of structure or artificial reef in 1 to 7 mile range. Also, amongst the big schools of threadfin, make sure you throw lip plugs, spoons, or maybe free line those baits on light wire, Brie.
All right, Rick. Well, like Jeff mentioned, get excited, anglers, because CCA Star is back and sporting a new format with more species and bigger prizes. You can catch a sailfish and enter it in the CCA Florida Star competition presented by Yamaha to win a new Yamaha 250. The Angle Offshore division, presented by AFCO, now has more species, which includes sailfish. Star begins Memorial Day weekend and ends Labor Day. And if you enter by May 1st, you'll receive a free contender raffle ticket.
Wow.
Early bird gets the worm, so get registered now at ccaflstar.com.
That's it.
All right, coming up, we are talking with our friends from Casa Vieja Lodge and seeing what Captain Pat Deneen in the Sea Sucker Panhandle region has been up to. And then we're fishing the Casa Vieja Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas, who will have your reels screaming with his sailfish report. So stay with us right here on the Florida Insider
Fishing Report.
Oh, we still got it.
We do.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bahio, Blue Light Blocking, Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Scoozy Shoes, the captain's choice for premium lightweight comfort, Sea Sucker, easy on, easy off, incredibly strong, Penn, let the battle begin, Kubota, together we do more, and the International Order of T. Roosevelt, protect your right to fish.
Joining me is Kristen Salazar, the owner of the beautiful Casa Vieja Lodge in Guatemala, and her daughter Ava and Vera. So girls, why don't we talk a little bit, Kristen, start first. Tell us about the lodge.
So we are an all-inclusive sport fishing lodge on the Pacific coast of Guatemala. We can accommodate about 38 anglers down there. We have 9 charter boats ranging from 35 to 48 feet. You get there and you do nothing. You go fish, you have fun, there's no laundry, all your meals are included, and you just have a great time. Last year we released over 12,000 sailfish.
Wow.
Amongst that also mahi and tuna, and it's a great time for families, friends, guys trip, whatever you want.
So speaking of mahis, Ava, I know that you love to catch mahis. Why do you like mahis so much?
So they have these really different colors. There's green, yellow, blue, a tiny bit of teal, and plus the females and the males, they're pretty different.
So tell me about that.
So the males are very square, their head's very square, while on the other hand, the females their head's really round. Yeah, kind of like a spear. And plus, they're really good to eat with butter.
You really like it. So Vera, what's your favorite fish to catch while you're at the lodge?
Sailfish.
Yeah? Why? Why do you like sailfish so much?
Because they like pop out and then dance.
They dance. And you like to dance, right?
Yeah.
So they jump all over the place and go crazy?
And also, like they have like my favorite color, blue, and the colors are blue and purple, and also their sail is big.
So tell me, when you get back to the boat ramp or when you get back to the dock, what do you do?
Like when we get to the dock, we get some wet towels like from the driver, and then when we get back from the dock, we like when we get back.
Get in the pool?
Yeah. Like we get some drinks and then we go in the pool if you want.
So Mama, tell me where we go if we want to find out more information.
So it's easy. Go to CasaViejaLodge.com. On there, you can live chat with one of our Miami-based clients, or with Kirsten or Christian. You can go on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you want. We're there for you. We make it easy. All you do is show up and have a great time.
Guys, it's a beautiful place to take your family. Very family-oriented. Make sure you go check it out. Brie?
I second that. All right, let's see what we're hooking up to in the Sea-Sucker Panhandle region with Captain Pat Deneen. Pat, I don't know if you can be as cute as that. That was pretty cute, but let's hear it.
There's no way I could be anywhere close as cute as that. But I tell you, it's great to be back, and sailfish are caught off the Panhandle coast through the summer months and into the fall, basically May to October, with late summer and fall being the best times to find sailfish off the Panhandle. Unlike Southeast Florida, most of our sailfish are caught incidentally, mostly while live baiting for kingfish near shore around bait schools are probably where most of them are caught. But wherever you find large concentrations of bait, you could possibly encounter sailfish. And probably that's the reason many are caught from the Gulfside piers, anywhere from Panama City to Pensacola. The piers concentrate a lot of bait during the summertime, attracting sails and other predators. Anglers in the panel do start to target sailfish and white marlin late August through September and into October, offshore the southwest edge towards the nipple and the elbow. And when they're doing that, most guys are pulling dredges and teasers to attract the sailfish and feed them rig ballyhoo, kind of like they do off of Stewart. There's a photo of Jonathan Goodhart. He's released a sailfish we caught this winter off the out of here. We're on our way home from Mexico where we were down there sailfishing.
Nice.
And then, yeah, we had a good time down there. But staying offshore, Rick, the swordfish, in the springtime, it's a great time to target swordfish, both daytime and nighttime. The spurs, the most popular areas are the steps and the dumping grounds. 1,200 to 1,800 feet seems to be the preferred depth. The nighttime swordfish have been often fished near the Okaloosa Pass, perfectly positioned to capitalize on that first light bite for tuna and wahoos when the sun's coming up. But day or night, squid, strip baits, and butterfly baits are common. Either rig them naked or with a skirt. But if you're going to be daytime fishing, most guys are going to put a skirt on it. If you're going to drop your bait, 12 to 1,500 feet down, you want it to be durable and survive the attack. You never know what size swordfish you're going to catch. It could be a throwback dink, or it could be a several 100-pound or more, big one. Jack Lewis, there's a photo of Jack Lewis and Hampton Tucker. They were fishing out of Destin, and with the daytime swordfish they caught near Randy's Mountain, which is just a little bit east and north of the spur.
Wow.
Moving inshore, the Florida Panhandle beaches are producing plenty of pompano. Surf fishermen are using sand spike rod holders, fishing multiple rods, and they're baiting them with chartreuse and pink fish bites and live sand fleas. The great thing about using the fish bites, if you lose your flea, you're still fishing with that artificial bait. Look for the beaches where outer bar pinches in towards the inner bar, or where deep pools are close to the beach. But you can also walk the beach or troll a motor down the beach, keeping the sun to your back and sight fishing with jigs. Most of this time of year, the fish are traveling east to west, so really you just stake out in a good spot and sight fish as the fish swim towards you. Pompano are averaging 1 to 2 pounds, but fish up to 4 pounds and even 5+ have been caught this spring, so it's a good time to be doing that. And finally, if you want to go catch some fish, Spanish mackerel should be on your radar. They're catching throughout the whole Panhandle, and lots of them are being caught. From the Cape to Floribama, really, you're going to find them along the beaches and in the inlets and inside the bays. Inside St. Andrews Inlet, troll or cast spoons around the points and the range markers. Destin, you want to fish the channels around Crab Island or troll between the jetties and the bridge, or even up into the harbor. And Pensacola, fish the drop near Fort Pickens or the north side near the Navy base. Fresh, not frozen Spanish are great to eat. You want to eat them. Definitely don't freeze them. Eat them fresh. They're good to eat. But it's also a good time of year to fill up your cooler, brine them, and then stock up for those offshore trolling baits.
Good advice, Pat. Thank you for getting us started tonight. We appreciate you very much. From the Panhandle region, it's time to take a look at the hot spots. Pat says inshore, redfish, trout, pompano in St. Joe Bay. Pompano mostly on the flats near the points, with reds and trout on the flats throughout the bay, particularly the south of Eagles Harbor. And then offshore, mingo snappers on the wrecks and natural bottom at 130 to 180 feet of water. Bigger fish are coming from the deeper spots. Use cut squid or dropper rigs on your way down. That's what's so cool. He talked about Spanish mackerel, but then he had his hot spots were different than his report, which he's adding even more species. Good job, Pat.
This is what we're here for. This is what we do. All right, let's get into some serious sailfish in the Casa Vieja Lodge Southeast region has going on with Captain Jimbo Thomas. Hi, Jimbo.
Hey, everybody. Great to be back talking about fish. We do have some of the best sail fishing in the world right here in the Southeast region. Now, we do catch sails throughout the year, but December through May are peak months. And the key to catching sails is finding the right conditions, which is blue water and north current. And if we can get some north wind in there, that's going to make them really start biting. The most effective way to target sails is with live herrings, goggle-eyed sardines, or pilchards fished under the kite. And we like to fish in anywhere from about 80 to 250, 300 feet of water. And if there's not enough wind for the kite, you can slow troll or drift those live baits. That'll get you some bites. Trolling rig ballyhoo and mullet and small to medium-sized lures will also get some sailfish bites, but the live baits way outfish those rig baits. Now on the kite, we use 10 fathom 40 LDs, and for the flat lines, we're using spinning reels, 750 or 850 pin authorities. We want to load our reels up with 20-pound test line, and we use 10 to 15 feet of 40 to 60-pound monofilament or fluoro leader, and 6.0 to 7.0 circle hooks, depending on what size bait we have. And lately, the sailfish bite's been fairly decent on days when we've had that north current. And then on the days with no current, the bite's just been so-so, and we've been fishing anywhere from about 100 to 300 feet of water. Now, I got a photo here. This is one of the many sails that we've tagged and released in the past week, and hopefully a lot more to come. Now, April and May is blackfin tuna time, and the bite has been ticking up in depths anywhere from 120 to 250 feet of water. Best bait's been live pilchards and herrings. You want to fish those under the kite, or you can flatline them. Use 30 to 40-pound fluoro leader and 4.0 to 6.0 circle hooks. And most of the blackfins have been in the 15 to 25-pound range, and they should keep getting bigger. And they've been biting throughout the day, but first thing in the morning and then late in the afternoon from about, say, 3 o'clock till sunset, that's when they're going to bite the best. There's also been some blackfins caught on the troll using small feathers in anywhere from about 150 to 400 feet of water. But the larger fish are definitely going to come off the live baits. And if you can get some just to chum with, you can hopefully get them chummed up. Now, moving inshore, there's been some great tarpon fishing around the lit bridges and docks, and also in and around the inlets. Now, around the bridges, look for those tarpon feeding around the shadow lines on the outgoing tide. If you can find a color change or a rip, that's where those tarpon are going to be feeding. Live crabs and shrimp have been the best bait. If the water is real clear, you might want to scale down with lighter leaders and smaller hooks. Now, all of the fishing around the bridges and the inlets is taking place in the evening, but during the daytime, some of these same fish, they're being caught in and around some of the deeper holes in the bays and throughout the intercoastal waterways, and they're eating live crabs and baits as well as swimming plugs and even flies. And now in the same areas as the tarpon, there's also been quite a few snook. Most of the snook bites have been on live baits, pinfish, herring, and shrimp. Those are good choices, but any other good live bait should get you some bites. You want to drift your live baits along the jetties or the ledges of the inlet using a Jupiter rig. Best fish has been in the evenings and preferably on the outgoing tide, especially if you're fishing in the inlets. If there's no live bait around, you can try bouncing flare rock jigs along the bottom or trolling medium to deep diving swimming lures. And around the bridges and those lit docks, drift the live baits or work artificials through the shadow line on the outgoing tide. Got another photo here. This is William Flynn with a couple of slot-sized snook that he and his dad Bill caught in South Biscayne Bay last week. Nice fish.
Yeah, sure are. Thank you so much, Jimbo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the southeast region. Jimbo says that we're going to go big tarpon are eating inshore on live crabs and shrimp drifted through the inlets and lit bridges in the evening. And then offshore, fish live baits in 100 to 300 feet of water has been producing a mixed bag of sailfish, kingfish, mahi, and blackfin tuna throughout the region. Sounds like the southeast region, the Casa Vieja region's on fire.
It is on fire. And you know what else? I'm really loving all these moving headshots from our captains. Are you?
Yeah, man. I've been wanting to do that for years, but I didn't have the technology.
Well, now we do, and it's amazing. Love it. All right.
Just took a little bang on the head, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, join Rick, Dave, and I right here on set for our live studio audience shows. You can scan the QR code on your screen to choose your show and sign up. We can't wait to see your friendly faces. You could be sitting right here on this dock with us. First one is next week. We're super excited for that.
Kayak.
Can't wait. You could be on the boat, on the dock. You can be anywhere here on set with us. It's a great time. Make sure you sign up.
Yes,
All right, Dave has been holding out on the goods for a few months, so let's see what he's got for us at the CCA workbench for Taco Marine new products. Dave.
They're piling up in my shed.
I bet they are.
Got some cool electric stuff to play with. You know, I like to play with the electric toys. They're always
Boys
the
and
best
their toys.
ones.
Here we go. All right, and then when we come back, we're taking you to the Takeuchi, Florida Keys region to do some sail fishing with the newest member of our team, Captain Ridge Murphy. We'll be right back. What? Who's that?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Abyss Battery, power your pursuit. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and it's time for the Taco Marine new products.
Yes, sir.
Dave, we got some cool stuff this year.
Yeah, we're going to start out with the electric toy there, the Abyss Deep Drop PAB 9000. That's an electric reel battery, and you know we got it mounted there on a kite rod, but it's definitely made for deep dropping or kites, anything, you know, we're using an electric reel. And what's cool about this one, you know, it eliminates all the wiring and whatnot. You don't have to be plugged in. You can get that thing charged up. It's very strong, very powerful. Your buddy said he got 120 drops out of it. We don't know how deep he was dropping, but he got a lot of drops out of it. And
See, this battery needs to be charged because we left it on
all week. And
all week.
And it still
we
got
did a
charged.
rehearsal last week.
That's right. So it still got charged. Anyway, that'll go on to a Daiwa, a Seaborg, or a Ban-X electric reel, just about all the electric reels that you get. Advanced lithium technology really ensures that it has a lot of power for a long time, and it's a very light and compact footprint. It only weighs 1.6 pounds.
Right.
And you see how we have it mounted on the rod there. It goes underneath the reel, so you're not fighting with it all the time. 14.8 volts, 10 amp hours.
It's so easy to take off. I'm going to take it off because we do have to charge it.
Yeah, we do.
That's simple.
And it comes with
the
a
core.
charger.
Yep.
You know, and it'll charge all the way up in 1.2 hours. And it's a little 2 amp charger that it comes with.
Easy peasy, smart people at Abyss Batteries.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Go to Abyss to get that.
Let's do
Abyss battery. And it hooks up to a Bluetooth app too, so you can monitor your
batteries.
Yeah, you monitor your battery.
And we got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Abyss this year. I can't wait for you to learn more.
Next, we have the Savage Gear Slim Jig Minnow, these big ones here. Yeah, they come in 6 sizes from 4 to 14 ounces. These are deep drop, jigs. Flutter jigs, they're called. It's designed to flutter on a slack line, and it'll still get to the depth pretty quick.
As it's falling.
Yeah, it'll fall sideways, and it'll fall.
Hold the
pretty
camera
quickly.
still, Doug. I'll do the moving.
Like I said, it's 6 sizes from 4 to 14 ounces, 6 different colors, and pretty nice hooks on there. So anything that you hook, they're good for groupers, snappers, anything you're.
What are these little
tunas.
babies?
The little ones are the Savage Gear Long Cast Minnow, and they're extremely efficient casting lures. For a land-based guy, or you can cast them from a boat. Great for little Spanish mackerels, or even a cobia would probably eat one of those. It punches through the wind really well. Surf and pier anglers, you can put them on it. You can throw them on the piers. Great for targeting breaking fish that you see on the surface, like those Spanish mackerel that Pat Deneen was talking about. Come in 1 1/3 ounce or 2 ounce, and in 6 different colors as well. So those are pretty cool. Next, we have the telescopic boat cover support from TH Marine Supplies. When you put a cover on your boat, if you don't have a good support in there somewhere, it's going to sag. The rain is going to make it sag in the middle. It's going to
always seems to be right in front of the console.
Yeah, it's going to shorten the life of your cover. It's probably going to wind up leaking. Leaves and stuff get in your boat. It's just not a good thing. But with this little doodad here, it adjusts from 28 to 48 inches. You put that underneath your cover, just taut it up, get it real taut, and it'll keep your cover, from making a big dip and getting all of the stuff in.
Upside down umbrella.
Correct. And the top cap has a wide mushroom head design there
That goes
to
up
help
here.
support the cover, and it's got a non-skid rubber end piece, keep it in place, and extends the life of your cover and the life of your boat when you get one of those things.
Where do we go to find that?
thmarinesupplies.com.
All right.
Last but not least, we've got this Engel. It's a new for 2004. This new cooler here.
Okay.
This is a lightweight injected molded 60 quart cooler. It includes a nice divider inside. This divider, you put it in half. A nice wire basket so you can put stuff in. It's really, really light with a 2-inch all closed cell foam all around. It's got the articulated silicone gas that makes it airtight. Hold ice for 2 weeks. It only weighs 21 pounds. A lot of the coolers weigh twice that size, it seems like. Huge drain here, really easy, and a patented bottom that slopes and it's ridged so you can stack stuff in it and still all the water will find its way out. EngelCoolers.com.
All right.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, Rick, you want to stand on that? You want me to stand on that? Just kidding. It's now time to give a big warm welcome to this brand new captain who is not new by any means to the game, and his name might sound familiar too. Rick, you do the honor.
How about my son, Captain Ridge Murphy from the
Takeuchi Keys region. We're proud to have you finally a part of the show, Ridge. Let's hear your report.
We're excited to be here. I'm glad to be here. So, sailfish are a crowd favorite down here in the Keys, and they can be targeted from 40 feet of water all the way in the sand, down out to 250 feet offshore. Look for good east current for preferred conditions. There's many different ways to catch them. Trolling live baits is definitely a common way to do it, or kite fishing. So you want to get that big spread and cover lots of water with the big kites. Definitely, the one thing that we have that's a little bit unique is we have the fish like to spray ballyhoos in the sand in the early fall, and what they do is they push up, and you guys can throw spinning rods to them and really sight fish them, which is a little bit different from what we like to do in the Keys. Use live ballyhoos, cigar minnows, filtered sardines, goggle eyes, and thread fins. You want to use 5.0 to 7.0 eagle claw billfish, depending on the size of the bait. And then from 25 pounds all the way to 40 pounds for your leader size.
Tell me about this picture here, Bub, of Chase.
That's Captain Chase Varnador on the Heartlander out of Ocean Reef, and hopefully we get to see a little more of that down in Key West this weekend. We're fishing off the Heartlander, doing the Viking Challenge. So hopefully we can see more of those sailfish doing their thing on the Heartlander this weekend.
So what else you got for me offshore, Bub?
Offshore, we got a little mixed bag of snappers, muttons and yellowtails, and some kingfish too, from 40 feet of water all the way out to 90 feet of water, free line chunk bait, and some small pilchards. Try to put a couple pilchards on the bottoms for the muttons, and have a wire rod ready, because there are some kingfish around. A number 3 wire with a treble hook that tends to work pretty well, and some light lead. I got a picture for that, and that's Captain Trevor Newman out of Bud and Mary's with some kings and some muttons and actually a sail flag, so a little bit of mixed bag right now.
All right. Let's go inshore, Bub.
Inshore, we got tarpon. We got tarpon on the bridges. Use mullets and crabs on the bridges and drift them back. We're going to use anywhere from a 5.0 to a 7.0 circle hook. And then we also have them coming through on the basin. So all of the banks and everything are starting to have some tarpon pour through on this early migration stuff. Use flies and bass assassin soft plastics for the fish that are pushing down the edge.
All right. Tell me about the picture.
Try to be courteous, guys. It's early season, so there's going to be lots of guys pulling around. When in doubt, try to make the extra effort to either idle or pull through there too. I got a picture of Captain Wiley Berg, and he's bowing down to the king.
One last species to go there, young Richard. What you got?
We got bonefish right now. There's lots of fish mudding around. Bonefish are on the flats. Throw 1/8-ounce jigs, bucktail jigs, either tan or pink, or use live shrimp. Throw that live shrimp up current of them and let them find it. Let them just sit down there and let them find it. Look for the muds and look for some tailors mixed in. 7-foot rod, light to medium light.
All right, so I got a question for you real quick. So you talked about the sailfish swimming in the sand. They're up there showering ballyhoos. So how do you typically approach those fish, Ridge?
A lot of guys are using towers or they're using binoculars on their center consoles, and they're kind of fishing offshore, and they still have their spread out, but they're waiting for those showers to start pushing up. And depending on how they push and how they're pushing the actual baits, whether it's a big spray or a constant spray, say, okay, he's going to come up once, then he's going to come up twice, 3 times. We're going to go after that fish. So we're going to go and we're going to run and try to get down current or down further east of them, or further west, my bad, and present baits to them, normally one offshore and one right out the back of the boat. And so a lot of times you're either looking for that fish, or if you have the tower, you can actually physically throw it to them and see them. A lot of good communication. You got to communicate with your mates and your captain. Try not to throw until you see the fish, because what will happen is he'll eat and then fade off. So if we can get that bait to him before he eats, it's really important.
All right, Bub, good report. Way to get us started for the Florida Keys, Takahushi region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys. Inshore, early tarpon migration has started. Live mullets or crabs on the bridges, flies or bass, sass, and soft plastics in the backcountry. Make sure to pull that extra distant. Be courteous to the other fishermen nearby, guys. And then offshore, yellowtail on the edges of from 40 to 90 feet with some kingfish mixed in. Look for that hard edge, really a color change, to target sailfish and other pelagic species on the kite. What's the problem, Brie?
Oy vey, 2 Murphys. Okay, now we've got some fun tournaments in the Florida Keys to tell you about, starting with the inaugural Key West Sailfish Tournament, April 11th through the 13th, a 2-day all-release sailfish contest with optional categories for heaviest tuna, dolphin, and wahoo. Next is the Marathon Premier Sailfish Tournament, April 18th through the 20th, where proceeds supports Mission Fishin', a group that organizes fishing trips for special needs kids and their families. Then we have the Herman Lucerne Memorial Tarpon Cup in Isla Mirada, which features guided anglers competing in the Everglades backcountry, April 21st through the 24th, to catch and release the most tarpon to support ecosystem preservation and enhancement. And last but not least, we have the Ladies Let's Go Fishing Screamin' Reels Tournament, where lady anglers gather May 17th through the 19th for this offshore and inshore fun fishing tournament. For more information on these Keys tournaments, head to flakeys.com. All right, the Discover Crystal River Northwest and Alta Equipment Southwest captains are hanging out with us, coming right up. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Florida. Scan that QR code on your screen to check out all of our social media pages, our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy, where you can see new fishing adventures along with reports and more. Plus, on our website, we have brand new show merchandise to enhance your fishing wardrobe. So scan away and get yours now. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by StarTron. Start, run, and store with StarTron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. Takeuchi, from world first to world leader. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Welcome back. All right, we're going to head into the Discover Crystal River Northwest region and welcome back Captain Jeff Hageman to the new season. Hello, Hag. How you doing?
Good. Good to be back. Missed you guys.
Missed you too.
Jumping into our theme, sailfish. We get occasionally a few fish around, mostly caught by kingfishermen as bycatch when trolling and anchor up right now for kingfish. In August and September, we actually get them where we can target them. When you're out there grouper fishing, going spot to spot, if you break 70 feet of water, keep your eye out. If the water's flat, you'll run into some tailors and some finners out there on those calm, slick days, and you can actually sight cast these fish as you're rolling from spot to spot bottom fishing. So keep your eyes out when you're doing that. Look for bait, look for birds, flotsam, any kind of flying fish out there, or rudder fish underneath the flotsam is a good place to start looking. And birds, frigate birds, keep an eye out for frigate birds. So get over top of those sailfish, and you can pull right up to them, pitch a live bait to them, and catch them. What we got a lot of right now is hogfish in my area, anywhere from 35 feet of water to 55 feet of water, from St. Pete to Hudson. Any of that flat rock bottom has been really good. I'm talking about that limestone we've got up here. It's real flat. There's some sea fans in it. The trick to catching them on hook and line is getting the grunts and the sea bass and everything else that's down there in a feeding front. You get them feeding hard, and the better the hogfish will turn on and catch that chum that's coming down, and everything they're spitting up as you're catching the other fish. It's a good way to get them enticed. Another great way is to drop a wire chum box down, and that'll get some scent down there and get the fish fired up. As far as tackle goes, 20 to 25 pound fluorocarbon leader works best. Knocker or a chicken rig tipped with shrimp or squid, and use a 1/0 trocar circle hook with just enough lead to get to the bottom. They got real good eyesight, and they can be pretty picky. Moving on inshore, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tales Charters, fishing out of Ozella Keys Marina, reports a good pompano bite right now. They're showing up pretty consistently in good numbers of them around the sandbars and sand flats in Ozella to Crystal River. He's using live shrimp on an 1/8 ounce jig head, and also in the cuts between the sandbars, using some standard pink and white pompano jigs and around the sand flats there. When he's seeing them skip behind the boat wake, says he's running from spot to spot. So always turn around and give an extra eye behind you, and you might skip some pompano, and you turn around and you can catch them pretty easily. Right now they're ranging anywhere from 14 to 18 inches. And I've got a photo here with Roger Blanton with a nice pompano caught on a recent trip with Mario Costello.
Nice.
Roger that.
All right, what else you got, Hag?
Captain Brian Sawyer of Old South Expeditions out of Homosassa. Got a new captain this year. He's going to give me some reports. I'd like to welcome him to the show. Good redfish bite right now, Chaskawiska to Crystal River, the outgoing tide and the first of the incoming tide. Good numbers of tailing fish near the higher grass patches and near the Mangrove Islands. A live shrimp tail hooked on a 2/0 tripwire circle hook with a little split shot in front of it, or a soft plastic rigged with a weighted 3/0 weedless hook is doing the trick for them. The water's been really clean right now, so he says downsizing to 15-pound leader has been a must. And I got a photo here of a beautiful Homosassa redfish caught by Captain Sawyer.
Well, tell me a fish story. What you got? We got about a minute to burn.
I fished on Thursday up here. It was blowing 30, and they were actually chewing the bottom out of the boat. Had a real good day. Just got back from that long trip down in the Bahamas and the Keys, so I'm back to fishing inshore until tarpon season gets here. But snook bite was really good. Redfish bite was good. Got some big trout showing up in Tampa Bay, which is always a plus. We've kind of missed them since our red tide. We've got some big ones showing up. Caught a little bit of everything out there, and as soon as the wind stopped blowing the next day I fished, the fish stopped biting. It was good. So I don't know what that was. Maybe it was the barometer. Couldn't tell you what it was, but it was a little frustrating.
That's fishing. That's why they call it that. All right, Bub, thank you so much. We're looking forward to the next 25 weeks. We're going to be talking now about the Ozella Key Marina hotspots from the Northwest region. He says inshore redfish from the middle of the top of the tide around mangrove points and oyster bars, cut mullet or ladyfish for bait on a 4/0 trocar circle hook, and then offshore grunt, sea bass, hogfish, all the good stuff on the bottom on the flat rock off of Tarpon Springs and Clearwater in 45 to 55 feet of water. Use squid or pieces of shrimp on a chicken rig for bait, Brie.
Oh, the adventures of Hag. Don't we all say we want to be like him when we grow up? I feel like we all say that.
I don't think my liver could handle it.
We can work to it. We can work towards it. We've got our Alto Equipment Southwest Region Captain, Ronnie Houston, with everything you'll need for a great weekend on the water. Good to have you back, Ronnie. Let's hear it.
Well, it's great to be back, and it's great to be giving out reports on a weekly basis to get the worker man the best bite he can for the weekend. You know, sailfish isn't common, but the cobias are really common right now. And it really seems to be spring is in full swing and plenty of fish in the mix. And there's plenty of these fish right now ranging anywhere from 10 to 60 pounds. Now, here we are in the beginning of April. We're still getting minor fronts. You know, some days it'll get up to the 80s in the afternoon, but back down to the 50s in the morning. So these fronts are still minor and blowing through, but hopefully by May, things will be in full swing. But the fish seem to be floating up high on the nicer days before and after these fronts. But once we get a good blow, obviously these fish seem to be back down on the bottom. Now, once the weather calms, they're also back on top. You can fish most wrecks and artificial reefs 5 to 30 miles out right now from Marco to Fort Myers Beach. And when you get those calmer days and the fish are on top, fish are feeding really good. And just about any bait you can use to toss at these fish will work, like live pinfish. You can use herring, you can use pilchards, and if you can get crabs, they're also eating the crabs. If you don't want to use live baits, there's a variety of artificials you can use because these fish are really chewing right now, to include large poppers, bucktail jigs tipped with shrimp, or 4 to 8 inch swim baits, for example, like the Bass Assassin, Artemis Shad. And I'm getting reports right now from Perry Padel that these fish right now are ranging up to 60 pounds. There's a nice picture of a cobia that was recently caught on one of those calmer days.
Hey.
Now, permits. Getting some reports right now, and it's really odd, of acres of fish throughout the region, anywhere from Marco up to Stump Pass. And I'm even talking to some buddies of mine. They're getting them all the way up towards Tampa in these large schools. Now, some reports of these schools, big as football fields, and an average of 20 to 40 pounds are all these fish, and they are plentiful. But you have to work the fish and be patient at times. Spooking these big schools really shuts them down. So you want to get ahead of these fish, especially these moving schools, and let these fish come to you, especially if they are on the move. Now, if you're fishing the wrecks and artificial reefs, 5 to 20 miles out of the reports I've been getting, all you're simply going to need is some live crabs, have been best. But also, if you can't get the live crabs and you're fishing some of these big schools of moving fish, live shrimp is also working as well. I've got a nice picture of one of the permits that was recently caught, Wes Bedell, both guys from Mission Fishing Charters. These guys are on the cobias and the permits right now in this lake spring. The inshore report, you know, the redfish. Reports have been good actually throughout the whole region, but it seems to be better to the north, your Bull Bay, your Turtle Bay, and especially on the lower stages of the tide, especially with the cleaner water, fishing potholes. I actually think the water's a little too clean. I think we actually going to need some rain to start dingying up the water to get the bite, you know, going a lot better. But you can use live shrimp. Bait that's been really good for me from the winter all the way actually till now and is still working well is the Bass Assassin, Little P&V, particular colors with that clearer water, the watermelon gold and the golden brim. But I've also been using the Savage Twitch baits anywhere from 3 inch to 3.5 inches, the Twitch Reaper. I strongly recommend the colors in greeny or white glow. But down to the south, from Coon Key to Pavilion Key, you want to concentrate on fishing the outer Gulf Islands, low water on the outside edges, but as the water gets high, the mangrove points as well as areas of deadwood. And down to the south, live pilchards, live shrimp, or because of the scent, cut ladyfish or mullet on knocker rigs. But I'll really tell you, the bite seems to be a lot better for numbers to the north. And I have a nice picture of a redfish that was just caught while fishing with Captain Derek Daffin down in the Everglades. The last species is going to be the snook. Now, with the moon phase we've had the last couple weeks from full and the fall of the moon, the nighttime bite fishing intercoastal docks and seawalls with most bridge fans actually throughout the whole region. Now, the best tide seems to be the last half of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming. Shadow lines for me have been key. Artificial Bass Assassin shrimp or your 5-inch dye dappers, and I'm using the bigger baits, and the bigger baits seem to be catching slot-sized fish, especially after you catch a bunch of oversized. Your numbers are going to come up. You're going to get a slot fish in the mix. But to the south, from Coon Key to Lossman's River, some fish are now starting to show up in the passes. They're not in big numbers, but I strongly suggest fishing your outside points with current or areas with current and deadwood combined. Now, the best bet down to the south is using topwater walk-the-dog lures, live herring, pilchards, and cut baits on knocker rigs. And I've got a recent picture of one of several snook I've caught in the last several nights while fishing this moon phase. Guys, spring's just around the corner. Things are starting to heat up. Numbers are starting to come. As long as we start getting away from these fronts, Fishing's going to get good, and the weather's going to get better for the weekend.
Thanks, Ronnie. We're going to take a look at the hot spots from the southwest region. Ronnie says inshore tarpon from Bird Key to Indian Key. The fish are moving to the north in big groups on those calm days. Fish the outside edges in depths of 4 to 10 feet of water for the poons. And then offshore, kingfish from Naples to Fort Myers Beach, working the bait schools and wrecks. Scattered fish from 5 to 20 pounds use spoons. Herring, pilchards, or maybe even a blue runner is going to catch a bigger one.
All right, it's time to show your support for Florida's fisheries with a Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Funds from the sale of the redfish tag directly support protecting and enhancing Florida's saltwater marine resources, habitat restoration, water quality, and coastal environmental education. For just $25, your redfish tag purchase helps ensure Florida's marine resources will be here for future generations. To purchase, go to your local DMV or visit redfishtag.com for more information. And it is pretty.
It sure
I love
is.
it. All right, we're almost ready to send you off into the weekend to catch him up. But first, we're seeing what our last captain, Tommy Derringer in the Front Runner Boats Northeast region has for us. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. Island Lures, Tournament Tackle, the IGFA, every fish, every water, every angler since 1939. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, 30 years of fishing for adventure. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome, Real Legends, available at bellsflorida.com. And Taco Marine, master the catch.
Today's Power Pole tip is certainly about the premium brand products that Power Pole has to offer. Now, over the last 25 years, they have certainly created some really cool products. The Charge comes to mind for me, and certainly it saves me a lot of time each day when I can just simply get home, plug in, and not have to worry about watching and maintaining my batteries between trips. The other thing that I think about is how easy it's made my job and my boating experience on a day-to-day basis when I'm actually using the shallow water anchors that they have to offer as well. Remember this, when you're talking about buying a Power Pole product, you're supporting a Florida-based company right here in Tampa. And the thing that I also appreciate about them is how well their customer service and what they have to offer us. It certainly is the best in the industry, so keep that in mind. So on behalf of Power Pole, we want to thank you for supporting Power Pole over the last 25 years. And we also are looking forward to working with you with new products over the next 25 years. And if you have any questions, you can go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
You gotta love the Power Pole.
I do.
Ain't that right? Do hearts with me. Gotta love the Power Pole.
That's a
All right, the Front Runner Boats Northeast region has their sails in the air like they just don't care. So let's get our captain, Tommy Derringer, to give us the scoop. Tommy, your face.
What's up, guys? Hey, I'm stoked to be back for another season, guys. Great to see you. And you know what? We got some sailfish going on here in the Front Runner Boats Northeast region this time of year. You know, they start to make their way up from the south. And, you know, according to some of the offshore captains that I talked to this week, one key to locating some of those sailfish is going to be finding some cleaner blue water. Now, you can start just inside the ledge. You can work your way out to the Gulf Stream, even way beyond that. But you're going to want to look for current edges, color changes, you know, flying fish, all that kind of stuff. Now, the go-to way to do it for most anglers is going to be to troll slow, like in that 5 to 6 knot range, probably dragging either a naked or a skirted ballyhoo. Captain Jason Hadges from jhookfishingcharters.com, he always told me that the better or maybe the more natural that your ballyhoo swims while you're trolling is going to make a big difference in getting our sailfish to bite. Now, as it heats up, heading over the next couple of months, some of those sails are going to push in closer near shore along the reefs and the wrecks. You know, every year there's a few good ones caught right around that 9-mile reef out of St. Augustine, and I know a bunch of guys in their Pathfinder bay boats that get out there and do it. They're even catching some sailfish out of their skiffs last year, so it's a good opportunity to get out there and get one. Now, you can even find them as close as a mile or two of the beach when that bait gets really thick, but no matter how you do it, sailfish, it's always fun, and it's a staple here for our Northeast region offshore anglers. And I've got a photo here My man Dave Bergen sent me this picture of himself and his father Bill with a really nice sailfish that they caught offshore of St. Augustine. Now, staying offshore, guys, hey, we're at the end of our wahoo season here in the region, but you know what? We're still catching them. And this has been a great season with some absolute monster fish coming to the scales during this year's wahoo shootout tournament. There's been multiple fish over 100 pounds, and there's even been a couple, maybe even a few over 120, so some giant fish. Now, a lot of the anglers this year, they seem to be going the live bait route, and they're kind of foregoing that high-speed trolling thing that's been so popular. Now, there's still been quite a few fish that have been caught on those plugs, but the live bait of choice is going to be a small bonita if you can find them, but a blue runner has also been working well. And it's basically, you're using kingfish tactics out there for the wahoo, and it seems to really have taken the wahoo guys by storm. I'm just glad, that I got some friends like Captain Gibb that gives me some of those delicious wahoo fillets when he catches them. And I know you guys know it doesn't get much better than that. And I've got a picture here. Our good buddy, Erin Johnson, she sent me this picture of her 12-year-old niece, Riley Miller, with her first wahoo that she caught while she was high-speed trolling on the fly and fish. Way to go, Riley. That's an awesome-looking fish.
Yeah.
Now, moving inshore, guys, this is a great time of year to target trout in our region. I especially like to target the big trout on the higher tide stage with a topwater plug. Now, my clients, we've been doing really well tossing that Berkeley Jaywalker 120. Just simply find a good grass line that's holding some bait, toss that Jaywalker. I like that color that Rick's holding right there. Throw that right down the edge of the grass. And if you don't know how to walk the dog, man, you need to learn, because watching a giant trout smoke that topwater, that's about as fun as it gets when you're on the water. Now, also inshore, guys, of course, I got to start the season off talking about my favorite, the redfish. We've had a great redfish bite during the off season, and it's only going to get better as things continue to warm up over the next couple of months. Just like the trout, the redfish, they love a topwater plug this time of year, especially early in the morning and then right again before dark. Now, we've mostly been catching our redfish here lately, while it's been still a little chilly, with that Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner paddle tail in that Mama's 14K color. Now, I had Brie up here a couple months ago, and she got to see that thing in action. Now, you did real good on that color, Rick. Good job with that thing, man. It catches a lot of fish.
Yes.
Now, I rig it weedless, and I have my clients toss it around the schools of mullet or the shrimp this time of year. It does a fantastic job of mimicking both of those baits. Now, it's also been a great sight fishing lure for me as well. It's small and it doesn't make a big splash when it hits the water. Now, as the water temperature continues to climb, our water is going to start to get murkier, but you can still get into some of the creeks at low tide and see some fish pushing or waking around. I saw a bunch of them today, but especially on that negative low tide we have coming up this weekend. And I've got one last picture here. This is our buddy Brad Brittenson with a nice redfish that he sight fished with me using that Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner in the Mama's 14K color.
Well,
way to go, baby.
Thank you so much for zooming in tonight, Tommy. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. Tommy says inshore, the redfish are in the back of the creeks and along the ICW banks on the last couple hours of the outgoing tide. Look for them pushing up shallow. And then offshore, a mixed bag of blackfins, wahoo, sail on the troll near the ledge.
All right, well, wow, what a great first round of reports to kick off the season, but we're only getting started here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, so stick around to find out what we're up to next week right after this quick break. All right, next week we are talking kayak fishing, so make sure to tune in. It's going to be lots of fun. Gentlemen, first showdown. Woo!
Bang!
Let's have a great season. See you guys next week. Catch those fish. Bye.
Bye, guys.